Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers and updates reveal Britt Westbourne is eventually opening up to Jason Morgan after he saved her on the waters out Ladle Island. She told him that she's being blackmailed to finish her father's final design over withholding her Huntington's complaint specifics. Will she tell him Jen Sidwell killed Professor Henry Dalton? Sidwell murdered Dalton right in front of Britt. Observers will recall that Sidwell boggled Dalton right in front of Britt, after a discussion with her and Pascal about Dalton's soppiness following the lab break heft. Dalton, sloppy drunk, told further than he should have and revealed there was a lab position outside of PCU, which led to Emma Scorpio Drake and others to break in. It didn't count that nothing of significance was revealed, as he also made a public spectacle of himself at a public meeting where Laura Collins gave her acceptance speech. Thus, Sidwell and Pascal named Britt as Dalton's successor, and Sidwell shot him dead right in front of Britt. Latterly, Sidwell went on to frame Laura and Sonny Corinthos by putting Dalton's body in Laura's box with Jason doing the remittal latterly. Sidwell killing Dalton is information that Jason needs to know. Sidwell killing Dalton is information that Jason needs to know, along with who's running the show on Caesar Faison's final design and blackmailing Britt. It looks like dirty WSB director Ross Cullum is over Sidwell and Pascal, but is there anyone over him? It's doubtful, unless there's a not-so-dead Cassadine hanging around nearly, or a not-so-dead Peter August. But the original see that Britt was so hysterical of seeing on her Huntington's cure package when she first came clearly seems to fit with Cullum being the bone. Who's in charge? It's likely that Britt will tell the whole verity to Jason. Considering that in Friday, January 30th's occasion she tells him the men in charge are all veritably murderous. She may or may not know about Anna Devane being held in a cell in the basement, but she does know Jocelyn Jacks was there. Still, she came to see her uncle Lucas Jones, and so that should have been a sufficient cover, since Cullum didn't see her also. What Britt will probably reveal is the new lab being part of Windmere, and conceivably further, in the vault, which could be where Anna is as well. Jason has to know the whole verity, who the men in charge are, and what's at stake, and, especially, who, in order to help Britt out of her dangerous situation. General Hospital spoilers allude that director Ross Cullum may end Jocelyn Jack's WSB career. Will Cullum advise Jack Brennan to fire Carly Spencer's son, or differently? Brennan tried to cover Jocelyn by sealing her identity and agent details in a locked-up dossier. Since Brennan doesn't suppose Cullum would shield Jocelyn the way he does, he put her on slumberer status and tried to keep her down from Ladle Island. Of course, suckers know how stubborn Jocelyn can be, so she cut the power to Windmere and was all set to search the place until she saw Cullum. Although Cullum introduced himself as Matthew the caretaker, Jocelyn knows that's not true. Jocelyn is completely apprehensive of Cullum's WSB position of power, so she's formally playing a dangerous game by lying to Brennan's superior. It's possible that Cullum knows further than Brennan thinks he does when it comes to Jocelyn. Indeed, if Cullum doesn't know everything yet, he could fluently do some probing and figure it out. Jocelyn just introduced herself with a veritably flimsy story, so Cullum formerly seems relatively suspicious of her. It presumably wouldn't take important digging for Cullum to learn Jocelyn is Brennan's novitiate and one of the agents involved in the disaster at the Five Poppies. Cullum could be tempted to wipe Jocelyn off the chart, but he might worry that would draw too important attention. With that in mind, Cullum may essay a lower murderous result first. Although Jocelyn poses a trouble, Cullum may try barring that trouble by pushing her out of the WSB in disgrace. Jocelyn has a history of designedly defying orders and has now deliberately prevaricated to the director of the WSB's European division. Cullum could fluently pretend he was formerly probing Windmere during the power outage when he gave Jocelyn that caretaker tale. However, he may advise Brennan to fire her, or differently. Commodity far worse could be, if Cullum decides it's time to end Jocelyn's WSB career. Brennan may have no choice but to go on with the blasting plan. Will Jocelyn admit the news that her WSB days are over? Will Brennan end Jocelyn's time as an agent on Cullum's orders and leave her convinced that Cullum is Jen Sidwell's mate? General Hospital spoilers say Jocelyn may continue to stir up trouble for Cullum anyhow of her WSB status, so we'll bring you updates on all the excitement. Jocelyn Jacks will try to keep her stylish poker face while Jason Morgan doubles down on a pledge. Cody Bell will also blow up at Molly Lansing Davis, so let's talk about what's ahead in Port Charles. For starters, Britt Westbourne will advise Jason about the troubles of going against the people she works for. There's further than just Britt's drug on the line since Jason's life is at stake, too. Britt will make it clear that fatal consequences could be involved, but Jason will double down on his pledge to help her. Jason will just need Britt to keep going and tell him all the details he needs to know. It could be parlous for Britt to discover Jen Sidwell and director Ross Cullum's cooperation, but will she do it anyway? Anyhow, Jason will start to get a clearer picture as Britt reveals further information. At Windmere, Jocelyn will have to give Matthew aka Cullum her stylish poker face as he continues to caff her. Cullum will allude about the secrets Jocelyn's keeping, but she'll keep pretending she's a dull council pupil without important going on in her life. At Carly Spencer's house, she'll connect with Valentine Cassadine on a deeper position since they've managed to surprise each other. This alliance could turn romantic sooner or laterly, but we'll just have to see how it goes. In the meantime, Carly will propose commodity to Valentine, so she might suggest another Charlotte Cassadine reunion once the snowstorm has passed. Since Valentine was so upset about his son, Carly may understand if he needs to see Charlotte with his own eyes. Of course, Charlotte is presently safe at the Quartermain Gatehouse, where she just locked lips with Danny Morgan. Will Rocco Falconeri come on and catch the kiss or at least realize they've been hiding out there? Charlotte may snap at Rocco since he'll find himself feeling rather hurt on Friday's GH occasion. At the Quartermain Forces, Cody will blow up at Molly over a character inspired by him in her handwriting. Molly was on good terms with Cody when she was first writing her novel, so her description of him wouldn't be entirely accurate. While Molly offers an explanation, Portia Robinson will face a tough rejection at Trina Robinson's place. Since Trina can't trust her mama presently, fixing her relationship with Portia can't be anytime soon. Trina will inescapably make some updates to her perspective down the road. But Portia will face bad news for now. Over with Lulu Spencer, she'll freak out now that she's surrendered to a kiss with Nathan West. Nathan will prompt Lulu to calm down, but she'll confess her passions for him and assume Maxie Jones would be outraged if she knew. General Hospital spoilers say Nathan and Lulu's mess is only going to get messier from then, so stay tuned. Port Charles rarely enjoys a moment of true peace, but the coming days promise a level of tension that feels almost suffocating. Secrets long buried beneath icy glances and polite smiles are beginning to claw their way to the surface, and the people who thought they could keep their hands clean are realizing that blood has a way of spreading. At the center of this storm stands Britt Westbourne, a woman running out of time, and Jason Morgan, a man who refuses to walk away when someone is in trouble, no matter how lethal the stakes may be. This is a chapter in which whispered truths become potential death sentences, and even the most encouraging words carry the echo of angry threats behind them. As the town braces itself, alliances shift, romances teeter on the edge of danger, and a shadowy intelligence network threatens to swallow one of Port Charles's brightest young women whole. A rescue that opens old wounds. The cold waters off Spoon Island were never meant to be a place for heartfelt confessions, yet fate has a way of choosing the most unlikely stages. After Jason Morgan pulled Britt Westbourne to safety, something inside her finally cracked. Britt has always worn armor, sarcasm, confidence, and a carefully constructed image of control, but this time, she can't hide behind it. Shivering from more than just the cold, Britt begins to tell Jason the truth about why she's been acting like a woman on the run. She admits that she's being blackmailed into finishing her late father's mysterious final project. The cruel leverage isn't money or reputation, it's her medication. Without her Huntington's disease treatments, Britt knows her future could unravel faster than any conspiracy. Jason listens, his expression unreadable, but his attention razor sharp. He understands that blackmail of this magnitude isn't a petty crime, it's the kind of power play that ends lives. Britt hesitates at the edge of a much darker truth, her voice catching as she decides how much she dares to reveal. The murder that changed everything. Viewers remember the night Britt can't forget. Professor Henry Hank Dalton, sloppy and reckless after a lab break-in, drank too much and talked even more. His loose tongue revealed the existence of a hidden lab location outside of PCU, information that would eventually lead Emma Scorpio Drake and others into a dangerous trespass. Dalton's behavior didn't stop there. At a public meeting where Laura Collins was delivering an acceptance speech, he made a humiliating spectacle of himself, drawing attention he never should have attracted. For the men pulling the strings behind the scenes, Dalton became a liability, a problem that needed a permanent solution. Britt was there when it happened. She stood frozen as Jen Sidwell raised a gun and shot Dalton dead right in front of her. The sound echoed through her bones, a sharp punctuation mark on a conversation about sloppiness and consequences. In that instant, Britt wasn't just a witness, she became a prisoner of what she'd seen. Sidwell and his partner, Pascal, didn't stop with the murder. They framed Laura and Sonny Corinthos by planting Dalton's body in Laura's trunk, setting off a chain reaction that would eventually pull Jason into the grim task of cleaning up the mess. The town believed it was another twisted turn in Port Charles's endless cycle of crime. Britt knew it was something far more organized, far more calculated. The information Jason needs. Jason understands instinctively that this isn't just another mob story. If Sidwell killed Dalton, then Sidwell isn't a lone operator, he's part of something bigger, something with reach and resources that stretch beyond Port Charles. Britt hints at a shadowy hierarchy, a ladder of command that seems to end with Director Ross Cullum, a powerful figure within the WSB. She recalls the moment she first received her Huntington's medication package and saw an initial on the label, a single C that sent a jolt of fear through her. At the time, she couldn't be sure what it meant. Now, it feels like a signature. Jason presses gently but firmly. He needs names, roles, and connections. He needs to know who's truly running her father's final project and who's holding her life in their hands. Britt knows that every word she speaks could be overheard by the wrong person, and yet she also knows that silence might be even deadlier. The hidden lab and the catacombs. Britt's revelations don't stop with the murder. She describes a new lab, one that isn't just hidden but practically buried, part of the Windmere estate and possibly extending into its ancient catacombs. The image sends a chill through Jason. Windmere, with its long history of secrets and Cassadine intrigue, is the perfect place for something illegal and dangerous to thrive. Britt admits she doesn't know for sure if Anna Devane is being held there, but the pieces fit too neatly to ignore. She does know that Jocelyn Jacks was on the island, a fact that nearly sent her into a panic. Britt managed to cover her presence by claiming she'd come to see her uncle, Lucas Jones, but she's painfully aware that her luck won't last forever. Jason realizes that Britt isn't just caught in a web, she's standing in the center of it. To get her out, he'll have to pull on threads that could unravel something massive, something that might reach all the way into the upper levels of the WSB itself. A promise that can't be taken back. When Britt warns Jason that the people she's dealing with are lethal, she isn't being dramatic. She's stating a fact. She tells him that it isn't just her medication at stake, it's his life, too. Going against Sidwell, Cullum, or whoever else is involved could make him a target. Jason doesn't flinch. He makes a promise, the kind that once spoken can't be undone. He tells Britt he'll help her, no matter what it takes. His voice is calm, but the weight of his words hangs heavy in the air. For Britt, it's the first genuine moment of hope she's felt in weeks. Still, hope comes with a price. To keep Jason in the fight, Britt has to tell him everything. The question is whether she can bring herself to risk exposing Sidwell and Cullum's partnership. Doing so might save her, but it could also sign her own death warrant. Jocelyn Jacks, a pawn in a dangerous game. While Britt and Jason navigate their own perilous alliance, another young woman is stepping deeper into the lion's den. Jocelyn Jacks, stubborn and fearless to a fault, refuses to stay on the sidelines of the WSB's shadow war. Director Ross Cullum has his eye on her now, even if he doesn't yet know the full story. Jocelyn already made a bold, and possibly fatal, move by lying to him. She introduced herself with a flimsy tale of being a bored college student, pretending she had no real reason to be poking around Windmere. Cullum isn't convinced. He grills her under the guise of being Matthew, the estate's caretaker, but every question feels like a probe. Jocelyn responds with her best poker face, playing the role of someone too ordinary to be dangerous. Inside, her nerves are screaming. Brennan's gamble. Jack Brennan tried to protect Jocelyn the only way he knew how. He sealed her identity and agent file in a locked dossier, put her on sleeper status, and attempted to keep her far away from Spoon Island. He doesn't believe Cullum would shield Jocelyn the way he would. But Jocelyn's stubborn streak proved stronger than Brennan's caution. She cut the power to Windmere and went searching, convinced she could uncover something crucial. That's when she ran into Cullum. Now, Brennan's gamble might be unraveling. Even if Cullum doesn't yet know Jocelyn's true role in the disaster at the Five Poppies, it won't take much digging to find out. And once he does, Jocelyn's days as a WSB agent could be numbered. A director's ultimatum. Cullum faces a choice. Eliminating Jocelyn outright might draw too much attention. A quieter solution, one that leaves her disgraced and powerless, could be far more appealing. He could warn Brennan to fire her, framing it as discipline for disobedience and dishonesty. Jocelyn has a history of breaking orders, and lying to a WSB director is a serious offense. Brennan might be forced to comply, even if it means destroying the career of someone he was trying to protect. If Jocelyn receives the news that her WSB days are over, it won't end her involvement, it might intensify it. She's not the type to walk away from a mystery, especially one that feels personal. Encouraging words in the midst of chaos. Back in Port Charles, not every moment is steeped in conspiracy and fear. At Carly Spencer's house, she finds herself connecting with Valentine Cassadine in a way she didn't expect. Their conversations carry a surprising warmth, a sense that they've both been caught off guard by each other's honesty. Carly even proposes an idea, another reunion between Valentine and his daughter, Charlotte, once the snowstorm clears. She recognizes the worry in Valentine's eyes, the ache of a father who needs to see his child safe with his own eyes. These moments of kindness and understanding feel like small islands of light in a very dark sea. A kiss that sparks new trouble. Charlotte Cassadine is safe at the Quartermain Gatehouse, but safe doesn't mean calm. She shares a kiss with Danny Morgan, a moment that feels sweet and reckless all at once. Rocco Falconeri might stumble upon them, or at least sense that something's being hidden. When he does, the hurt in his reaction is immediate. Charlotte snaps back, defensive and sharp, as if anger is the only shield she has. Teenage emotions run high, and what starts as a simple kiss threatens to spiral into another round of misunderstandings and bruised feelings. Words that cut deep. At the Quartermain stables, Cody Bell confronts Molly Lansing Davis about a character in her manuscript that's clearly inspired by him. The portrayal stings. Molly wrote it during a time when they weren't on good terms, and it shows. Molly tries to explain, stumbling over her words as she admits that her frustration and hurt found their way onto the page. Cody's reaction is explosive. He feels exposed, misrepresented, and betrayed. Their argument is loud, raw, and painfully honest, a reminder that sometimes the sharpest weapons aren't guns or secrets, but words.